So I've taken out the sparks, which look a bit black. I just popped them back, checked the distributor, which all looks okay. Decided that to work on it, it'd be best to start cleaning it up a bit, so that it's just a bit easier. I put the wing back on to take a look, and I realised that here it's clearly had a bit of a bang, so we can see the dent here. This has come in and this is folded down, so this needs to come up flat, and then this will raise up. So if you look at the other side, we can see it's flat along here, and then this is flat as well. So I've got to pull this out, knock that up, and that's one of those things which I think might be a good thing for me to do. This here, I don't know if you can see, that got damaged coming off the tow truck with the winch. So I think we might start on something like this. So there's a couple actually of things, but right now I want to just try to clean it up a bit, just to make it easier to work in there, so that I can see what's going on. So that's what we're going to start with. I think everything's here. I mean, I do find it bizarre that, you know, the air intake for these are just curved like that, but that's what it looks like in the diagram. We've clearly got a lot of rust over here. I pushed the clutch in and it's just completely nothing there. So I think this must be the clutch cylinder. And oh, that's, well, I can't budge that, so but we'll have to get that out and see if there's anything in there. But somewhere I should still be able to, I'd have thought, see the clutch pedal. Anyway, we're going to have to look at that as well, because I really need that. So my plan here, really, what I'd like to be able to do is make it into a roll-in restoration. So really I want to get it so that it's safe to drive, MOT it, that way I know it's safe-ish. And so that means dealing with the welding first, really, as long as the engine runs and I have a gearbox. And once I got there, then I can actually start actually improving it and bringing it back to life. So you know, in terms of the rust, really I want to get stuff on it to stop it rusting more than anything else. So that's why I am looking to clean it and do the rust and go from there. This panel that was in the car, see, so that's on now, well, hooked up. I don't have any wires, don't seem to have any of the bolts for it, and it's clearly not hooked at the bottom, which is a little rusty, but we can deal with that. Yeah, I'm actually, and I don't know what this one's from. I'm going to have to go through and work out how everything comes through, and that's really why I want to get it cleaned first, so that I'm working with something I can see. So, excuse me. So I've removed. Right, so I've removed this item, which is like that, down, providing some protection at the bottom here, but it was preventing me from trying to turn the engine. I haven't taken that out. The engine turns quite smoothly. Okay, there's nowhere where it's not turning smoothly. So that's, I think, a good sign. Okay, so that's all fine, hunky-dory. Now I know the battery isn't in good shape. It was about 3 AM, it was at 12.7 I think, which is quite good, but when I got back here at midday, it was down to just 10, so the battery isn't great. But what I've done is I've hooked it up with, I don't see if we can see in there. So I've hooked the battery in, and then I've got it on a battery charger right there, which is all connected up. Oh, interesting, and that's not showing it's fully charged. And I think that's because I got the key in turned. So let's just take that, turn that. Yeah, so okay, so and you can see it that now shows it as fully charged. So the battery isn't holding, but I'd have thought it was enough there. And the problem is, I don't know if you're going to hear this, but when I turn it over, all I get is the single click. So I think that's the starter motor. Initially I was getting several clicks. I was getting well, it wasn't really clicks though either, so I'm not quite sure what that is. So I think it's the starter motor. I'm going to go check on the PC. In order to get at the starter motor, I have to take out the distributor, which is here, and the oil filter. And if I'm taking out the oil filter, it means I've got to drain the oil, I think. Certainly the oil, and then and then down here, and this is my starter motor down here. So that's what I've got to get at next. Okay, so we're trying to see if we can get the engine to turn. At the moment all we're getting is a click. Now I know the battery's not good, so we're going to try, we've got the battery connected up there to the Stag, and we're now going to try just to running off that Stag battery. I'm going to turn over the engine, or let's actually first we'll go 1. Okay, so I can hear the petrol pump at the back clicking away, so I know that's good. Okay, well that's a step forward because I'm getting it to try to turn over once. So I've got a struggling to turn the engine over. I know I've got a good battery in the Stag. I could put the engine on and run off that, give it a see if that's better. In fact, I think that's the next step. But it sounds like either I've got a faulty solenoid or loose wiring to the solenoid, or a faulty starter motor. So we'll start with switching on the Stag and trying again, see if we get anything better. Having done that, we will get under the car and look at the wiring. Right, we're back. We tried with the Stag running and we got nothing more. So I couldn't see how I could just get at the solenoid, to be honest. So I took out the filter, fuel filter, oil filter here, and the distributor. I could then get this rubber cover down here. There's a rubber cover which goes over the electrics on the starter and solenoid. I could get that off at that point, and I could see that I had loose wires. Well, one in particular. I had 2 before, when I was getting the sound rather than even trying to start, so when it was only getting to the relay. So I've now got them both on, and we'll give it another go. So let's just do it straight from here. So there's the okay, well, we have an improvement. We got 2 or 3 turns out of it. So what we'll do is we'll come over to the Stag, and I can't reach in there. We'll turn the Stag on. Need keys. That's MGB. Right. And we'll come back and we'll give it one more go. So okay, so we're getting a very slow turn out of it. Need to go away and have a think. I'm not sure if that's going to be solenoid or starter motor, but I think in either case the starter motor is going to have to come out so I can look at it. I can't see how to get the solenoid off without taking the starter motor out. I'm going to go have a little read about it first and we'll come back. Right, I've taken the spark plugs out before I did anything else. Okay, so having taken the spark plugs out, the engine's turning over. Yay! So I don't need to worry about the starter motor or the solenoid. I've got through that. I've got the engine turning over. It doesn't turn over with the spark plugs in, so that I guess might imply a compression. It's struggling with that, I don't know. So I think now might be the time to have a chat with John and see if I can get some advice. Right, so I've taken the starter motor out. I've got I've got this cable here connected up to the positive terminal, which is connected to this, which goes over to the battery, and then I've got the earth coming back and connecting onto the body. So the theory is, if I touch to the starter, where the starter goes, which is that one there, then this should spin. So that's what we're about to try. Okay. So that looks okay to me. Let's just try it one more time. So I reckon that's good. Right, we have connected up to the stag. We've connected the starter. We need a key. We've got a key. That's interesting. So I'm now not getting anything out here. Right, so something wrong with these connections. Well, I haven't got this right. This one will go. Right, so what's going on here? So that's the positive. I don't know what this one's for, but I can hear the fuel pump going. Okay, so it's definitely something wrong with my connections onto here. Come on, key, go back in. Huh. Seem to have a fuel leak over there. But have a look at that. I don't know if you can see in there, there's some fuel dripping down, so I'm going to have to sort that out as well and come back and see if I can work out why this isn't turning. Okay, the thing I missed before is it needs to be earthed. With it earthed, we've got something working. So that seems okay. So that's spinning up okay, so I'm not sure if it's not earthed well enough when it's on the body. So we'll put it back in and go from there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to check, trying to get this started, is the ignition. Maybe that's at fault. My understanding is if I push it into position 2, then what I should get is the oil and lights come on. So it's in position 1, position 2. And I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing that red light is either ignition or oil. So I guess that means the ignition is okay. Right, I'm not sure if this is true and I'm trying to find out, but this spins both ways. I think it's meant to only turn the one. So I think that might mean, although it is working, the internals aren't great, and that might be why it's not turning the engine. Okay, on the basis that I don't think it's working properly, rather than just buying a new one, let's take it apart. So all I've done is taken the solenoid off, removed these 2 bolts that hold it together. I've left the end cap and all of that on, and then I've taken out the retaining pin that was in here. Where's that gone? Which I think I will end up having to replace, so that's a bit damaged now, but I could try if necessary. Anyway, so I've done that, and so clearly, you know, it comes out like this. And then, so that's my problem right there, is it seems to me when it comes out it should only turn in one direction. Okay, and so I think it must be slipping, because it can clearly turn both ways. Now maybe it's meant to, I don't know, but that just seems wrong to me. So that's what I think the issue is. And so I think, I don't know how I would fix that. I'm sure there is a way. but I haven't been able to find rebuild kits. A replacement of the same type is about 120 quid. And if I were to buy, there's a new model out, a lighter high torque one, not original, but it's only 65 quid. So I'll probably go with that, I think. Okay, I don't know how clear this is, but I'm trying to bypass my starter circuit, my starter motor and ignition relays. So this is connected. This green wire here connects the solenoid to the starter motor. I've got this connected to battery on the stag as a positive. So if we follow this out, we can see it's not actually connected at the moment, but we then got the earth connected up to the engine earth. Okay, and when we connect this up, not quick, but the engine is turning over and the starter motor isn't slipping. So we know that it's a new starter motor. We know the starter motor is good. We know the clutch isn't slipping on that point or catching on the teeth. So we have a problem somewhere in the starter circuit. So in the ignition side of it. And so that's what we've now got to work out. Okay, so in the spirit of being thorough about this, I'm going to do the same test again. I've connected this up to the battery, the voltmeter. Okay, so the battery is currently reading 12.6. Now it shouldn't fall below 10.5 when I start turning. Okay, and there we go. So that's all okay. Oh, I didn't like that spark. So that's all okay. So yeah, definitely it's something within the circuit before that. So we'll look there. Right, so I've got positive and negative connected on the stag. The earth clamp is going onto the engine block, and the positive is going onto the starter motor. Onto the solenoid, and I've removed the starter motor solenoid link. Okay, so if I check here, so if I put it on there, so I should have a good earth. Okay, and I'm getting a volt reading of 12.58, which is good. If I come down underneath the car, excuse me, this makes you dizzy. Okay, and if I put it against the solenoid, you can see I'm getting 12.58 still. So, and if I put it against, can I get it against the starter? There. Okay, and I still get 12.58. So I think I've got a good earth. Correct me if that test isn't right, but I think that gives me a good earth. So I think my starter motor is earthed properly, and that I think must mean my engine's earthed properly. So what we have here is 12.65 reading. We've got the negative connected up to the engine. We've got the positive connected up to the solenoid where the battery comes in. Okay, and if we watch this, when we try to turn the engine, okay, so that shouldn't be falling below 11. So we've got somewhere a resistance issue where we're losing our volts. Okay, so here I have the negative to the engine. I have the positive to the starter motor power, which goes directly to the starter motor, which is connected to the battery. So we should get a reading of about 12.6, and we do. And just because I don't know what will happen, I'm just going to see what happens when we Try the engine. Okay, and we lose it all as usual. Okay, so my next test I don't quite get. Check whether there is high resistance in the wiring on the earth side of the circuit. Connect the positive lead of the voltmeter to the negative earth terminal of the battery and the negative lead to the body of the starter. A working starter should cause a drop from 12 volts to 0.5. Okay, so we've got our negative cable down there connected to the bolt to the starter. I can't actually connect it to the starter, so that's the closest I can get. Comes along and connects up here, goes to our multimeter, and then that is connected to the battery earth. Alright, and if we switch on our multimeter, we've got nothing there. Where is it there? Okay, so I don't know. I don't know what this is meant to test really. So I'll just put it down. Sorry about this. Okay, so I don't really know what this is meant to be testing or how, but if we try turning the key now. Okay, well that's interesting. So we got a 0.7. So we got it says it shouldn't drop below 0.5. And well, and once it gets going, it doesn't. Does it say not below or not above? Should cause a drop to below 0.5. If it stays above, look for a bad connection at the earth strap. Okay, so that makes some sense. So bad connection at the earth strap. So that's on the battery terminal. Okay, we'll have a look at that again. Right, so I've cleaned everything. I've given it a really good scrub, and with some 60 grit paper, so really sanded it back down, got everything clean. And now hopefully we'll get this below 0.5. Okay, so it's popped over at the start and then it stayed below it, so I don't know if that's good or not. Let's try one more time. Okay, so that stayed below, so I think we've made an improvement there. We're at 0.5, so we now need to go to the next step. Okay, so my understanding is 30 is C1, which is brown, 85 is W2, which is earth, 86 is W1, which is the two red and white, which go to, I haven't got it in front of me, but I think the two red and white go to the ignition. And 87 is the one red and white, C2, which goes to the solenoid. Okay, so this is the relay. Okay, and we have the one red and white here. Well, hang on, let's start with the earth. So we have the earth. And that if I focus on it. Oh. That is 85. I can confirm that is 85. Okay, I have the power here. and I can confirm that is 30. I have the single red and white, which is 87, which means the other one's 86. Okay, so having done that, so I've just connected it up. So let's check. This should read 12. Okay, so that's the power and the earth, and we've got 12. Okay, so if we do earth and solenoid, and this is hard for me to show you. It's 3.5 basically. And then there's the 2, so this is earth and starter switch. And when I do it this time, it's reading about 5.78. Okay, so that's all 3 of them. And that's what I'm getting. Right, I have got the power cable connected to the starter motor. I've got the starter motor connected to itself so that it's not using the ignition. I've got the earth strap connected over to the an earthing strap. Okay, and when we do this, alright, we can see the engine turns very slowly. That's slower than I think it was doing before. Okay, now, but it is turning, and we can see there's no slippage on the starter motor. Alright, I haven't measured voltage there, but I could do that now. But what I'm not seeing is when I tried doing it using the same setup, but actually using the ignition and the starter relay, then I get slippage still. Okay,